Welcome to the Mark Attwood Show, Adventures in a Cosmic Suit. Now, firstly, if you're new to the channel and you don't, there's a link near here where you can sign up to my email list. It's the best way of staying in touch. I already lost one YouTube channel, blah, blah, blah. Get on my email list. I don't spam you. It's all good stuff. Now, regular viewers and subscribers, hello, how are you all? Good to see you again. Will know that I am an amateur, but an enthusiastic amateur when it comes to health. And I think at this time, we should all be a little bit more than enthusiastic amateurs when it comes to our health. And you also know that the idea of sovereignty is incredibly important to me, and it should be to you. And health is part of that, as we have all learnt to our great cost in the last couple of years. Now, about, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, I started getting really interested in the work of Nikola Tesla. He has appeared in our consciousness more and more and more, despite the fact that Tesla cars have stolen the name, and most kids think it's just a car manufacturer, which I think was deliberate. But if you look into the work of Nikola Tesla, you will know that he said you need to think of the universe in terms of frequency, particularly 369, which is a whole other subject. This led me to discover the work of Royal Raymond Rife, who was healing people 100 years ago with frequencies. In fact, if you go to my website, you will see, if I can just find it for you, you will see at the top of my website, I have Nikola Tesla here, and I have Royal Raymond Rife here. Every one of these pictures, by the way, has a meaning, and they're there for a reason, because I want to bring these people into your consciousness too. Now, there was an amazing project I found called Spooky2, and I followed this project on the internet for quite a long time with great interest, because the stated aim was to recreate a Rife machine using parts that you could get from Tandy or Radio Shack. And I thought that was a fantastic idea, and it was an open source idea. And for quite a few years, I harbored the desire to get these plans and build this machine, but I'm completely useless at building things. But I'll just take you into my office here, and you will see I have a Spooky2. This is a Spooky2 scalar machine. Now, this scalar machine is also a Rife machine, and it's very, very powerful. I was stood between those two things yesterday, and it was amazing. But what is it? Well, the man that started the Spooky2 project has joined me today. Please welcome John White. Hello, John.
Hello, Mark. Lovely to be here.
Such a pleasure to meet you. Because, you know, I've been, it's just funny, I've been reading your stuff for like 12 years on and off, and you took it upon yourself to then start making these machines in China, correct?
Started off in New Zealand, in Auckland, New Zealand. I was making the devices for about a year from there. I was sourcing most of the components from China. I'm going to cram a lot of information in one or two sentences, so listen carefully. After about 2 years, I moved to China and started the production facilities here. The rest is history. It's Spooky2 has grown, and it's by moving to China, it became more cost effective. I could keep the prices down, and also more and more people were helping. You know, so it was just a thing that meant to happen, and those sorts of things happen very smoothly.
Yeah,
yeah.
But my story was correct, though, wasn't it? You had this open source parts from Tandy. They're the bits I remember. That's correct.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
We had a generator that looked like a Crayola toy, and we just bought that. It was only worth a few dollars, and wrote software that allowed it to be controlled up to 16 generators, which was quite a feat at the time. Between then and now, we've sort of advanced a little bit, so we can control up to 126 different generators, and the generators themselves are much more advanced. But that's how we started with these Crayola generators. They're Crayola because of the color. They're bright blue and they're made out of plastic. Nothing but the best.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing I loved about it, because when Rife was doing this, and we'll go more into how you got there in a bit, but when Rife was doing this in the 20s, the technology never went away. I mean, some of it actually continued in different forms. Like, I can't remember what it's called. The TENS machine contains Rife
Sure.
technology, isn't it?
That's right.
Most women know what that is, but if they've been pregnant, they'll know what that is.
Yeah.
But the main idea that frequency has a positive effect on human health was removed from medicine, wasn't it?
Absolutely. It's always fascinating hearing anyone argue that Rife or electrotherapies don't work, and hearing their reasons why. And then you kind of think, well, you scratch your head and think, well, nerves are electricity, aren't they? And the heart uses electricity and the brain uses electricity. Gosh, I've scratched my head so many times I've lost my hair. It's just crazy the lengths that companies go to refute the fact that we are body electric. It's just incredible.
It's mind-boggling. Well, I mean, once the penny drops, it's like, I'm obsessed with frequency now, and I just I can't get enough of it. It's just beautiful and simple.
It is simple, and it's something which you can use over and over, as opposed to having to buy more drugs or compounds. What I'm really finding now, this pandemic that we're in, there's been a lot of negatives, but the single positive I've seen that's come from this is awareness. I believe that more people are becoming aware that to really, overcome the obstacles that we face ahead, you've got to become your own doctor. You've got to do your own research, and you've got to have equipment that can help you apply healing electrical frequencies. So with this, it's actually the only positive I've managed to think of. There's been plenty of negatives. Gosh, it's been.
I think there's been a lot of positives, because I believe this is the Great Awakening, and I believe I'm seeing it. The stuff that I talk about on my channel now, 5 years ago, used to get me kicked out of parties. I mean, it still would. It's still
now
would.
It's something else that gets you kicked out of parties, but not that.
But I'm interested in for people watching this who've never heard of this kind of tech. Can you go back in time and tell us a bit more about Tesla and Rife, and how you came to discover it, and what drives you to do what you've done? Because what you've done is amazing. You've taken their stuff, put them together, and created something that is totally affordable, especially what you just said about, the prescription drugs. I mean, I think the average bill in the States is $800 a month, which is $10,000.
And that's average? Gosh.
I think that's right. Don't quote me if you're watching this and I've got it wrong, but I know it's, people that are on, drugs for diabetes or whatever, that's how much it costs. They might not have to pay it all, but somebody's paying it somewhere.
That's right. And they'll be paying it through taxes. It has to come from somewhere. So, okay, how did it all start? Well, first of all, healing through electrical means is nothing new. Even people that have got malaria in South Africa used to throw themselves on electric fences to heal themselves. So it doesn't have to be scientific or complicated. People used to lie on railway tracks, and the electricity that builds up. But things have advanced from them. I got involved through family disasters, if you like, losing family members that left before their time, and me being unable to do anything about it.
Yeah.
I last saw my grandfather in hospital. He had been taking a drug for inflammation. It caused bleeding in the stomach, and he, when I said goodbye, he was happy and smiling and full of energy. He was a very young 74, 76, very young. You guess he'd be in his early 50s. I didn't see him after that. And other family members through cancer, and that feeling of helplessness. There's nothing out there. Well, not quite true. What I did see made my heart sink with the prices. I just couldn't afford them. I wasn't a highly paid person at the time, and I'd guess that hardly anyone will be able to afford thousands upon thousands of dollars for a piece of equipment which didn't have a proven track record. So I decided, well, I'm not alone here. There must be millions of people like myself who've lost loved ones or are living with loved ones that are not enjoying life for whatever reason. It could be something very simple and common like arthritis, or it might be something more devastating like a cancer. So I set it upon myself to find solutions. Now, I never wanted to do it alone, but it had to start with me. But of course, I understand the value of many people working together. So from here on in, whenever I mention Spooky2, don't picture me as being Spooky2. In fact, now I'm just a small part of a massive team of people that are all absolutely fixated on finding solutions that everyone can afford. And so I don't want to take the credit from them. We've got a massive Facebook with their moderators and the administrators there, and the forum as well. People that do the real work. I'll just take the glory. But anyway, yeah. So by my formal training is electrical engineering, where I went through the formal studies to get the degree, and I went from there to biological research as well, and did two other degrees, and with something of presumable worth between the ears, I could then apply what I'd learned. It's funny, after you complete the formal studies, that's when the real learning starts.
Well, I actually said that to my daughter this morning. Almost in the same sentence. She was worried about her exams, and I said, everything you're learning now is going to be everything you need to learn, you're going to learn after you've finished.
Everything that you need to learn, that's right. Everything that's actually useful and applicable.
Yeah. And when I was going to ask you, because, to do the formal training in electrical engineering would normally preclude most people from going into what you went into, because you are trained within we are trained within the indoctrination system, as I call it.
That's right. Yes, good term.
Away from technology like this, because often technology like this is debunked by professors and people like that who just think it's nonsense.
I managed to go through the system with my ability to think out of the box and the ability to actually think, because they don't teach you to think, they teach you to recite, and they teach you to remember. And the things you remember are the solutions that are given to you. But that's only a small part of a much, much bigger picture. So I didn't lose that ability. I think I take from my father on this. He's a mad Irishman. He's still with us. He's a young 92, I think now, but he's still running around, swimming, and doing his things. He is also into electronics. He used to he helped invent radar, so he's quite a knowledgeable gentleman. And I even now when I go and visit him, we're like, when we talk to him, it's truly one-on-one, so close. And this is whilst I was a kid, there was like a distance between us, but now they've got such a strong common knowledge between us, the same sort of mindset. We're just like a house on fire when we get together again. But he lives in New Zealand. I'm stuck in China because of this pandemic, so you haven't seen him for a while. But his attitude was always to try and stretch things out. Things like having to pay road tax because of some machine that you bolt onto the hub, and finding solutions for things. Not to say that he did, but the way that he's thinking is like that, okay?
Mm.
He taught me to don't just look at the problem, look at everything around it. And it's a very valuable way to think as well. People don't realize it, but something like, let's say, for example, blue, I can make a statement, and it's the truth. Blue blocking glasses can help prevent cancer. So I'm like, huh? Draw dropping to the ground. Well, okay, there's the sequence of events. You're getting bad sleep. You've got the modern LED lighting in your home, or even fluorescent to a degree, and you get blue lighting at night time. You can't sleep at night because you're low in, you haven't got much sleep. Your immune system drops, and then the cancer cells, which are in everybody's body, say, "Hooray! Let's just do what we want to do," and cut this person's life short and give them a cancer as a bonus. So all that starts from just a little thing. It's so far away. You've got, if you can understand the sequence of events and how to best approach things, that's when you guarantee the best outcomes. So with these machines, which I invented and improved over time, I had this always in my mind, like the best way to approach healing. Now, you've shown your beautiful scalar boxes. I would put those boxes right up there in the best, one of the best machines that we have, for several reasons. First of all, you can use them for prevention of illness. If you don't want to get sick, just leave them on. Have one in one corner of the house and one in the other corner. Leave it on. You can't open it.
I need a longer wire to do that.
A link cable. Well, you can extend or buy an extended one from us. We do send. we do sell one. I keep on telling the crew here that they should send it with the long one by default, because scalar does work better the further it is apart. It's a little bit harder to tune sometimes.
Well, I read a post, yeah. I think it was on your site years ago, that you could get one of these and put one box at one end of the town and the other at the other end of the town, and the whole town would benefit. And I was saying this to my friend the other day. I need to get a 2 mile long wire to get so I could do the whole town.
That's the easy part. The hard part's trying to stop people from driving over this link cable.
Yeah.
You've got to be very careful with the cable that links two units. If that passes past metal, because that cable does carry the EMF, it has a capacitive coupling to anything that's metal or physical ground. So you've got to hold it above the ground and away from metal for any really long distances. But for most homes, it's a piece of cake, and the scalar field can pass through concrete, can pass through everything, even my head. It passes through everything, no trouble at all. But that's a fantastic device for prevention, as well as solving problems as they occur, because it's very flexible. Our cells within our body communicate through the same type of field that the scalar device does, and so it's giving your body what it uses anyway. So it's not a foreign type of signal like a radio signal. It's very natural. So you can use it in prevention. You can put things on the receiver coil, drugs or other health-giving compounds, and then receive the information of the compound throughout the course of the day. And Mark, I hope you've got the scalar harmony. Have you got the scalar harmony?
I think that part is on its way, because I've got all the other bits, and because I moved it around a few times, I think it got lost somewhere, because I think I did have it, and then it took me a while to set it up. But I just want to go back a little bit, because there will be viewers watching this who are saying, "What's a scalar wave? What is that?"
Oh, okay. Well, this is going back to Tesla.
Yeah.
Tesla's work was with the scalar wave, and here's a man well ahead of his time. He was using scalar waves predominantly for energy transmission, using a scalar wave, because once a wave is scalar, it can pass through anything and is not attenuated over distance. And you can transmit the energy for free from one point of the globe to any other point of the globe, which is kind of a neat concept. You don't have to pay for wires.
Is this how he was transporting electricity?
Yes, he was being sponsored by a gentleman who was associated with the power companies. As soon as his sponsor heard that it was going to be free transmission, he cut all funding for this project. But
Was that
but
JP? I thought JP Morgan funded the Wardenclyffe Tower, and then he was the one who burnt it down because he
yes,
realised there was no money in it.
yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So yeah, everything's driven by money, but you can't hide the science. And the science is he was transmitting energy through scalar fields. Now, what he noted in his patents is that standing near his tower or even his smaller devices, he felt energized. He felt very, very good, and so he made a passing note. Now, since his time, other researchers have been looking at the health-giving benefits of the scalar field and trying to figure out how does a cell that's up here communicate that to a cell in your left foot toe, and they do it through scalar field because the DNA is a twisted coil in the shape of a scalar transmitter and receiver. That's how the information gets sent. The scalar field is ideal as a means of transporting information, which is why we suggest putting substances on the receiver coil, because then it gets transmitted through the scalar field back to the transmitter coil. It sounds back to front, but it's not.
You know, I saw you say that in a video, and I was like, surely it should be on the transmission.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But I've got a question on that. So if I put cannabis on, would that make me high, or would it just give me the benefits of the cannabidiols?
I don't know about the high. I know there's a farmer in Florida in America that does this. They have a scalar device. They've got a farm where they produce CBD, and they've always had to keep this level of whatever it is below a certain amount so they don't get high. But he has done gas chromatography on water, which was on the transmitter coil. So the information from one box to the other into the water was tested and proven. So I can't answer for the high side. There'll be a good bonus, wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, what I love about this, what I loved about this is that to me, you were a scientist in a shed making this machine. That's the way I pictured you. I know that shed's huge now in China, but the story is very. You know, these stories occur a lot. I mean, I've just come across the work of Johann Grander. Have you heard of him?
No.
So this is a Grander plate, and this contains energized water inside this wooden thing.
Really?
And he was building a water-based free energy machine 30, 40 years ago in his shed, and he noticed that the cat would always drink from one spot the water that was coming through, and he realized that water had a specific energy, and the cat recognized it, and then he realized that the information from that water will pass to any other water instantaneously. And this is the kind of science that I love, because it's all nature based. I mean, the scalar waves themselves are in nature.
Science is lovely when you dive into the things that aren't mentioned in regular circles. Luke Montigny, he passed away just recently. He recorded a sample of DNA audio sound, into a flash disk that was mailed or couriered, I suppose, from France to Italy, and they played that audio to water, and then they tested the water, and there was the precursor of DNA within the water. It was distilled filtered water. So there's a lot. If you are willing to broaden your mind and look further, you'll be amazed And if you apply what you learn, you'll be better off for it.
Well, I think when I came across Masurio Emoto's work with the water crystals, that really,
Yes, isn't that amazing? And
right.
I've replicated that as well. I've done this as well. Water, we hate you. You're terrible. You're ugly.
Yeah.
And then, oh, we love you. You look so nice. So beautiful and clear. And the way that they froze the crystals when you look afterwards in the microscope, gosh, the water that had all these negative emotions sent to it. And let's face it, water won't understand language, but the energy and the intent. And that water was just the ice was non-uniform, was just crazy, but the water which had the love thrown at it, gosh, it was like beautiful stars and flowers, and wow, it knew it.
Exactly. I mean, as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, I've got to change my whole viewpoint on everything. I'm just going to share
Yes.
with the viewers that because some of them might not have seen Emoto. These are the crystals. I think he froze them and then took microscopic pictures.
That's how we did. Of course, we're like most people, we're skeptical, so we did the same. We've got a proper laboratory here at Spooky2ville, and we replicate a lot of the experimental results because we don't believe it. And just look at them, beautiful.
It's incredible. And you guys watching this, you're 90% plus water. And this is why we have to be careful with our language. And this is why the cabal has done such a great job on this planet by filling us full of fear. So we all, it's incredible when I listen to people speak. When I listen to people speak about themselves, putting themselves down all the time, and the fear creates this illness and dis-ease and toxicity in our bodies, and they're doing it to us all the time, which is why frequencies are so interesting.
You and I are in perfect alignment there. I didn't actually know before our discussion right now. I didn't know till 10 seconds ago that you thought this way. I tell so many people, you're living in fear. You're fear for your health, fear for the mortgage. You've been trained, all your learning has been to support, not yourself, but to support the government, to work for somebody, not for yourself.
Yeah.
And it's fear. If you stop working, you're going to lose your house.
Yeah.
You can't afford to pay your health insurance. It's just fear-based. So I totally agree with you, Mark.
Yeah, and this is why people are dropping dead so young compared to your dad and my granddad. He was 92 before he passed on.
Yeah.
And he didn't give a shit. He wasn't scared of anybody. And I grew up with a fighting kind of background and a thirst for knowledge and a total disrespect for authority.
Yeah. Well,
Exactly. But
most Western countries are definitely strongly aligned that way. I'm now living in an Asian country. Yes, it is, but not so much the fear for housing, food, and health. Not so much.
I'm just going to show absolutely. I'm going to show the viewers the machine when it's opened up, so you can see here. This is the which one's which? This is the transmitter, and this is the receiver, right?
I think so. It's a little bit small, but the transmitter's got the power. So
yeah, so that's
on the transmitter's on the right, and the receiver's on the left.
Oh, right, the power of that. Okay, so the receiver is here, and this is where you would put something like garlic or CBD or whatever, and then you would receive the benefits of that in your body, which is So what if you put in let's say for example, you think carrots are good for you. I don't think they're good for you, but let's just say that you did, and you put a carrot in there, and it was genetically modified. Carrots are all genetically modified anyway, because the king of the Netherlands engineered them to be orange to suit his country. They were originally purple, but I don't know why I'm picking carrots as an example.
We obviously don't like them.
Well, what I mean is, you've got to be careful about your source material, haven't you?
You do, but I'll explain something. With scalar fields, you can't overdose yourself because you're not consuming the drug or essential oil or anything. It's going through you. This means that your cells have the opportunity to pick what it needs.
Ah,
So if there's anything that's not natural, it's going to go straight through you because
so
it's not going
basically, it's like being at a buffet.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, you're not going to charge me if I do use this as an analogy in the other talks that I give. It's a lovely analogy there, a
Well, I'll
buffet.
tell you what, do you know what I'm going to put on that next?
CBD,
No,
carrots.
no, a little wooden stick with a piece of cheese and a piece of pineapple on it. do you get
Really?
those at buffets in New Zealand? Because we do in England.
You can eat anything in a buffet in New Zealand.
Oh,
Anything.
so that's
It's
powerful
more it's more than just physical things too. I mean, scalar devices are wonderful for meditation and that. But I'll tell you a little story.
stuff.
What the heck? It's just between you and me, right?
No, this is on
Nudge, wink, wink. Yeah.
on YouTube.
And a few other people.
Yeah.
My wife and I were trying for a child, and we were told by the hospital it wasn't going to happen. And so we were rather crestfallen. We weren't really at the in high spirits. We thought, what can we do? And we decided, well, I'll
Have
put
sex, maybe?
but that might have been part of the reason why we didn't. Too much TV, late night movies.
I always found sex to be very good for making children.
Yeah, and not sleeping in separate beds kind of helps
helps.
as well. Yeah, I wasn't in the dog box, but what we tried a lot of things, and this went on for several years, and I decided, well, I'll write a note of love and intent for our unborn child. So I did.
Oh, I'm getting shivers as you're saying this. I know where you're going with this.
And I folded it up and I put it in the receiver coil, and you'll never guess what happened.
Yeah, the baby.
Nothing. Gotcha. We had a baby.
Of course you did. Otherwise, that would be the shittest story ever told.
Never ever have you heard a story where you're just on the edge of your seat and then nothing. But no, we had a lovely valley, and now she's 2 and a bit.
Wow.
Yeah. So that we it was actually we put it in Ho'oponopono, and that.
I'm about to record that for my channel.
Are you?
I'm a poet as well, and the Ho'oponopono is very, very powerful.
Extremely powerful.
I decided to record it the other day, and I'm going to make a video of it for people to listen to, because some people like my voice for some reason. I don't know why.
I don't know why either. You're fishing for a compliment, aren't you?
No.
But Ho'oponopono, well, for people who don't, well, no, I'll let you introduce it because you're going to do a video, aren't you? So I'll let you do the.
Yeah, I mean, it's really simple. It's
I know.
Hawaiian originally.
It is Hawaiian, yes.
I love you, forgive me. I can't remember it.
Thank you, I love you. Of course, you'd forget those two.
That's it. It's that simple. I can't remember it.
It is. You can't forget it unless your name's Mark Attwood. But the it's just something so simple. It doesn't cost a thing. What it basically is, Mark, is, well, I mean, I'll tell people. I'll preempt what you're going to tell people. If you don't understand a problem, just let go of it.
Yeah.
Give it to the divine.
Yeah.
Tell the divine, please forgive me. The problem was caused by yourself because you're perceiving the problem.
Perception.
You don't understand it. You don't know how to solve it. Let go of it. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. So it's passing the buck, if you like, which is this a British thing, isn't it?
Yep. Well, letting go is key, and it's the Taoist principle, and it's something I learned a long time ago, and it's taken me years and years and years to be able to do it to the degree where because it changes your frequency, it changes everything about you, and that changes your life. And and I've taught the law of attraction for years at seminars and things like that for 12 years, and because I realized that my whole life I was using the law of attraction without realizing what it was called.
Yes.
And we've all got this ability, and this is what I think is one of the wonderful things about where we're going through this painful, I call this spiritual quarantine, this time that we're in at the moment. And yes, it's painful and difficult for people, but there are wonderful things coming out, like this conversation, like your technology, this technology, like this understanding of all that kind of stuff. And one of the things I have often taught people is that if you right, I mean, if you sign up to my email list, you'll get a free guide on how to manifest things, and there's a little trick in there. I'm talking to the viewers now, which switches the way that you word things, because the way that we word things is incredibly important. But one of the things I teach people is that once you've got the wording right, you then need to write it down, because once you write it down, you're making it a physical thing in this reality, and then what you're saying is then you can use scalar waves to turbo boost it.
Yes, well, it worked. And she's beautiful. Luckily, she takes after her mum.
I'm guessing. Yes, yeah. I'm guessing that's
yeah. You can see, yeah.
Oh, I know. She's still bald, and does she wear glasses?
No. She was born looking very much like me, actually, and no, not glasses, but she does like to take my glasses off gently. And put her on herself. She likes to think that she runs the household, but in fact she does.
My kids still do that, and they're teenagers now. They're still doing that.
Oh gosh, so there's never. Oh gosh, I was hoping that there'd be some sort of reprieve after 4 or 5. No,
it gets worse. That is a beautiful story, John. I can't believe that. What did you just think that up yourself? Or, oh, just try this?
Well, we tried a lot of things, Mark. We went all the Western things, going to the hospitals and getting things done. Ooh! and all sorts of things, and then we were trying Chinese medicine and basically you name it, we tried it. So we pretty much at wit's end, and then for about. Now, she would argue for about a year or so, but I'll argue about a few weeks. She'd been trying to get me to read a book, and the book was called Zero Limits. And of course, with the title like that, I thought, that's another motivational type. Comes into the category of I'll read it tomorrow. But in the end, she sort of got really naggy. You know how they do. So
I'm saying nothing.
Yeah. And no, in a loving way. Okay, I say things, but this is just the way the way I put things forward. And I did. I read it. I read it a little bit each day until because I have difficulty with them long words. And at the beginning of the book, I thought this is rubbish, and halfway through, I thought this is kind of rubbish, and then the penny dropped. And I realized that actually things that happen in your life are about you. It is about you, and you cause it. Even if it's something you think, well, how on earth could I have caused a catastrophe that was 1,000 miles away? I say miles because you're still in the Roman era of units, aren't you, in the UK?
Well, I'm not in the UK. I'm in the west of Ireland, and they flipped it all here to kilometres about 12 years ago when they gave away their sovereignty to the fascist paedophile ring known as the EU.
Oh, what a mess! But we'll leave that discussion for another day. But really, everything that you perceive and anything that it does cause a problem is you. And when you dive deeper and you think about the spirituality and reincarnation and the merit point, the points you're born with and the points you end up with, and if you've got bad health now, it might be due to the fact that in other times you're a complete prat, and now you're paying the price. And this pandemic is also, can be resolved. There's everything that you perceive and what you truly believe is not your fault is your fault.
Yeah.
Now, what are you going to do about it? Well, there's nothing you can really do about it. So you give up, apologize for it being your fault, and then do the it's also an Irish thing as well. Just pass the buck. Just just be passive about it, and then just fill yourself with love, and whatever comes your way comes your way. And so yeah, a beautiful soul came our way, and there's and she's healthy, you know, she's really strong. She's a vegetarian, of course, because we don't take lives. We've got of our mind, we think that the pandemic is sort of like a payback for the amount of meat and lives that have been consumed over the years. Now it started in a live animal market, most likely in China, and I believe it did.
Well, I've got slightly different views to that, which I don't think we'd bother going into for now, because I want to stick to the machine and the scalar waves, and just get everybody up to speed on how you got from scalar to the Rife machine, because Royal Raymond Rife was amazing as well, right?
He was. Now he didn't do scalar though.
No, he didn't.
So we've discussed Nikola Tesla, and it's now Royal Rife. He lived and did most of his work in the early 1900s. In 1920, he was designing his own microscopes and machines. He was like Nikola Tesla, a man, you know, way beyond his time. He invented some machines that, or some devices that we've not managed to replicate. We haven't managed to replicate it because not everyone was happy with his inventions. His inventions included the world's fastest boat, the engine for the boat. Yeah, I know. Yeah, he was an expert marksman with a rifle.
I'm pretty good with a rifle.
Yeah. Northern Ireland, is it? Southern Ireland. Yeah, because
I'm in Ireland. There is no Southern Ireland. There's just Ireland and the Principality control called Northern Ireland.
Yes.
I'm about 20 minutes from Northern Ireland.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was a time in Ireland where it was very useful to be good with some sort of firearm. That's why I passed the comments.
Well, I was in the military, so I grew up shooting guns. So.
Okay. Well, he was a marksman. He was a accomplished musician as well, and he had a lot of feathers in his cap. But one of his feathers was the ability to design machines that were just incredible. A microscope that could magnify living organisms to the magnification of electron microscopes today, which have to kill the subject that they're magnifying. So electron microscopes can't see the effect of something with its frequencies or whatever. So he invented the microscope. Then he could invent equipment that applied frequencies to disease cells, and he can see the result of the different frequencies. So he used to spend hours tuning this frequency device. It was using I guess most of your viewers would know what a plasma tube is. Now it's like if you've seen a glow tube.
Are you talking like Tesla's violet ray machine?
Like a violet ray machine, yes. Have you got one there? Gosh, Mark, he's an amazing man. He might be one of these hoarders that you read about. He is a hoarder.
I'm not a hoarder.
Yes, I use and we have.
I don't just hoard it.
Okay.
Anybody that comes around the house gets it.
I thought you were not within earshot. This is why I was passing comments. But yeah, those wands, they're amazing for general illnesses, and we've actually created our own one. It's the ray gun. Yeah. Ooh. But anyway, but Royal Rife was he discovered that he could, at a certain tuning point, the cells would receive all the energy from that tube and then just either explode or stop multiplying. It's he termed it the MOR. It's the point of resonance of the cell. So if you resonate the cell at the right frequency, then the cell really doesn't like it and decides to leave the planet in a bad way. So he discovered frequencies.
So sorry, how did he get samples of, say, cancerous cells or because I mean, basically, for people watching, Rife basically found the frequency for every illness, didn't he? Or pretty much every.
A lot of illnesses, but not everyone. He didn't. It took a long time for each particular virus that he was chasing. He would focus on, for example, what he found was the primary cause of cancer. In fact, there was two cell lines that caused two viruses. The BX and the BY are the two that he found. He found that it had multiple forms during the life cycle of this virus. It changed, it morphed from one form to another. He would spend weeks upon weeks on the same cell line trying to cause it to explode or just stop dividing. He had a biological laboratory with assistants. He would breed rats and rabbits, and he would inject them with cancer cells. The cancer cells would subsequently multiply. He'd then remove the cancer, or he'd cut off samples and put them under the microscope and use them for his experiments. So it was pretty much the system that they use today. Still, it's 100 years ago now, because it was in the 1920s.
But his work was laser targeted to the cells that were causing the problem, as opposed to chemotherapy, which just destroys everything.
That's right. He was. It's like cutting something out with a scalpel as opposed to using a butter knife. He wanted to target it very closely. If a single cancer cell was in, with healthy tissue, he could disable that cell so it was no longer a problem and leave the other cells untouched, because the resonant frequencies are different.
Yeah. I'm just saying, for YouTube, there's no medical advice here. Do your own research. We're making zero claims about any of this stuff. Go and do your own research.
Absolutely. Good luck.
I've had a channel removed and poems removed for medical disinformation.
Poems.
How can you remove a poem for medical disinformation? Anyway.
Well, what was the content of the poems? Was it just a lovely poem?
I'll send you some afterwards.
Okay, that'd be interesting.
Make your own mind up. Yeah. I've got to be careful what I say now, because I want to keep this video on YouTube.
Okay.
So obviously you came across all of this at the same time and decided to merge the two into one machine, and you've built lots of other things since then. Do you want to tell us a bit more about how? I would say what I'm actually interested in, John, is how you got from the jump from when I first found Spooky2. It was the open source Tandy idea, and then I moved to Morocco for 4 years, and I got very busy. I actually it was really good actually. There's a kind of a healthy cafe in Marrakesh, and a Moroccan and a French owner, and we were talking one day, and they let me do talks upstairs, and they often had different alternative healers doing talks upstairs, and it was a great place, and I used to go there for juices and stuff. And one day the owner comes down to me and he says, "Mark, you need to look at this Spooky2. It's amazing. We're gonna buy it, and we're actually gonna buy the stuff." I thought, oh, we could build it, put it upstairs, but then I left Marrakesh, and then things happened here. But when I got my head together again and I found Spooky2 again, I was like, oh, they're being built now. This is great for someone like me who's useless at putting things together. I couldn't put a shelf up. But how did that jump happen? What happened to you that made it? Was it just like overwhelming a number of people saying, "Can you just build it for me?"
Well, that's right. At the very beginning, it was pretty much a grassroots type affair. But a lot of people, when they're sick, they don't want to spend time doing soldering. They haven't got a soldering iron, or they haven't got the expertise that's required to connect things up properly. We've always been striving to help as many people as possible. So we decided, well, we'll just make everything turnkey. We just buy X, Y, Z, connect it onto your computer with the USB cable, and run the software. A lot of things we've been refining continuously. We don't sit on our hands very often. We're always thinking, well, what can we do to make things easier? In the olden days, when you first started with Spooky, you had to choose the programs, then you had to choose the parameters, the voltage, waveforms, phase angles, pulsing, gating. I mean, what does this all mean? And who really cares? So now we have a preset. So you search for whatever condition you have, you just click on the preset and then you run it. And all the work's done in the background. We're continuously improving, but we're always trying to make things as simple as possible, making things, the technology as available as we can. For example, we've just created a new waveform, which is devastating for viruses. Really, viruses can't stand it. And we've incorporated it in most of our killing presets. But instead of giving people instructions on how to select the waveform and then select the different amplitudes and everything for the different devices and the 100% offset for this and that, it's all done for you. All you need to do is search for the condition that you have and the device that you're using it with. So let's say you've got a thyroid issue and you've got a spooky plasma. You can just select thyroid, plasma, and then go. You don't have to worry about finding the right programs. Speaking of which, there's, we've got the largest database in the world for Rife frequencies. Because we are proactive, we're always trying to find ways. And as things get larger, they have got a tendency to become more difficult to choose from. I mean, if there's 10 different programs for the one condition, which one do you choose? But because you run things from presets, we choose the best ones for you. So it's not so hard.
You've done all the heavy lifting, basically.
We do.
But
Now,
we're making no claims on this channel about what this does. Just making that clear. It's interesting. This is for educational and entertainment purposes only.
You know how we always try and provide solutions for people. At one time I bought some DNA frequency sets for treating an earache, and I found it quite useful. In fact, I found it very good. It knocked it back very quickly. It cost $15 for each program, $15 US. And I was thinking, well, it'd be kind of cool to gift that to humanity, but I can't because it's a commercial product. And so I've created our own, the maths behind the derivation of DNA and RNA frequencies. I've published that. I've made it public domain. You can see that on my personal website, which is cancerclinic.co.nz. And I tell people exactly how I calculate these frequencies. And so, wow, bang, all of a sudden people can have these $15 programs for free. That's what we're all about. We're focused on the people. So nothing's changed from the very beginning. We focus on solutions and solutions that people can afford.
Well, that's what I said at the beginning. I mean, it was open source, and this is really starting to understand, because I've worked on the internet for the last 25 years, and I've been a big fan of open source software. And, this is the way that this is how we work together collectively to get really fast solutions, right? And all of these ideas like Facebook and Google, they're just prisons, and I've been saying this for years, and people look at me like I'm a lunatic. But so I love the open source aspect to it, and the fact that the business comes out of the demand, because you're absolutely right. Most people, I was one of them. I mean, I wanted to build one of these, but I knew I would never do it. So that's why I'm really glad I got it. And even when I got it, I was like, oh, this looks complicated, because it's not that complicated at all. And I'm just going to tell people that it's actually really simple. It's just, because we are the analogy that I've used in the last few years is that as a species, we're so used to being, fed the milk, suckling on the nipple of the state, that we've just forgotten how to take care of ourselves and look after ourselves. And the other thing I love about this is that, my kids, everybody benefits from it.
Yes.
Everybody.
It's a one-off purchase, and each month, each 2 weeks, each week, we update the databases. You know, so you'll find that you can do more in a year's time, even though you haven't spent another dime more.
Yeah.
Or euro. It's like a single investment, and then we're not interested in using health or illness as a business model. We want people better.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, Mark, because you did buy this because you bought the scalar device, did you know that you helped a child somewhere on this planet? Because you donated money to this child through your sale. We donated not in our name, but in your name. So there's a Mark Attwood envelope to a child. It might be a child in a hospital. It might be a child in an orphanage. How do you feel now?
I feel like crying. I didn't know that.
Yeah, we don't tell people. Did you know that inside your scalar box, you've got Ho'oponopono, the blessings?
Yes. This is great.
Yeah, we're very secretive. We've put either engraving or a sticker with the beautiful Ho'oponopono healings. So
You're even better than I thought you'd be. But it makes sense.
But I tell you what, I'm a lousy salesman. All I can say is all I can say is what we do. You know, like the day that we decide to do something for profit, I'm out. I would not, you know, everything is focused on healing. It's from the day one. I am not going to forget the reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing. And so Spooky can only get better. It's actually the reason, Mark, why Spooky2 has become such a movement.
Mm-hmm.
You've got our Facebook, thanks for doing the Spooky2 Rife link.
I've just put that in for people that want to go.
The Spooky2 Rife for Life, this huge, that Facebook group, massive, and volunteers there. Pardon me, asking questions from people that are newbies and helping everyone out. It's a thriving community. You imagine if Spooky2 was a business, like board meetings and everything else, no way could we get people on side with us. You know, people aren't stupid.
Well,
but they learn what. Well, yeah, okay. Myself, experience. But I've been told more than once that what I'm doing is crazy. You know, I could be living a life of luxury and everything, but it's not right. It's just not right.
How much luxury does anybody need anyway? You know,
I know.
The best luxury is when your child looks you in the eye with love. That's the greatest gift there is, and you've got that. So you can't really top that with Bentleys and private jets.
Oh no, you'd be just living a lonely life, just trying to fill up your desires with things that have zero meaning. Friendship. I've made so many friends through Spooky2. People that sometimes they start off skeptical, but then they understand the people behind. What people quite often think is, hang on a moment, Spooky2, isn't that made in China? And then they got dictatorship and, you know, all the rest of it. Well, okay. Well, I'm not Chinese. I haven't got much of a Chinese accent. I moved here for business reasons. I ended up marrying here, but I've met people here that are so lovely, so wonderful. They would work. Just a random example. This boy in this company, I don't know him very well. I know his boss quite well because he's a personal friend of mine. There's my girl calling me. He donates his wages to fish market, or he buys fish from fish markets. They don't know he's coming, otherwise they get the fish for him. He buys the fish, he sets them all free. He's not allowed to become a monk because his parents say no, because they want him to become something more important. But people like this, people with massive hearts, people that are beautiful, truly beautiful. they're not just in America or just in Ireland or the UK. There's beautiful people everywhere. It doesn't matter what color skin or ethnicity you are. It's the person. Imagine if a company says, buy. I see this quite a lot too. Buy proudly made in America. Now, okay, I won't say who it is, but I'll say everything else. They are hiding behind the fact that America is a trusted country. It does not mean that by default the company is trustworthy. And I know because I've opened up their devices, I purchased them and I opened them up, and I in one case I did fall off my chair in surprise, just how empty it was. It was literally maybe $2 worth of components. The device was $199.99. That's the price that they sold it, and it was had no function because it did not produce an adequate field to do what it was supposed to do, which was supposed to be shielding from 5G. It just was nuts. And they're charging so much for a 555 timer and a couple of resistors and an LED and a printed circuit board coil, a planar coil. It's just crazy. That's criminal. And on the front of the unit, proudly made in America and the American flag.
Well, people get confused between people and countries run by demonic entities called governments, and and then they use it as, I mean, the whole concept of countries is a divide and conquer tactic in the first place.
Yeah,
they're penning people in, and it's lovely to hear that. It's lovely to hear a positive story coming out of China like that, because China's been demonized, the same as Russia's currently being demonized, and I've traveled the world. All I've ever met is beautiful people, except unless they work in government.
And in particular, the tax department. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
they're the worst. I can't say that. My auntie worked for the tax department in the UK for 30 years. Sorry, Auntie Mandy. But it is. I'm glad you brought that up, because we've got a slightly dodgy, and your internet's gone a bit dodgy, but we can still hear you, so we'll stick with it.
Okay.
I see. My belief has been, if I can't, a machine like the Spooky2, I couldn't not buy it because I'm investing in my family, right? That's the way that's the way I see it.
Yes.
I've never taken a prescription drug since I was about 14.
Wow.
Right? And I will never go near them, because I've got massive distrust of all of those MFs, shall we say. And I take care of myself most of the time. I've been a bit self-destructive over the years with the booze and the cigarettes, but otherwise I'm in pretty good shape.
Good.
But I do invest in things. This thing I've got on here is an EMF protector, and it is literally just a piece of metal and a piece of rubber, but I spent over £200 on it, right? This thing here, I spent 600 on this, which is basically well, I'm not going to say what it is, but it's supposed to be it's a Tesla healing. Well, they use the word Tesla. You see, this is, they're nice people, and I think this works. It's a good thing, but it's basically sand in a pot. My view has always been, if people like me, who are lucky enough to be able to buy certain things, do enough of it, then I keep thinking, well, that means the technology gets out to more people, the knowledge gets out to more people, the prices go down.
Yes.
But it does depend on who's running the company and why. And that is abundantly clear in your case, that the intentions are good. And I see this as kind of like 5-dimensional business. I mean, we're bridging. I think at the moment, in terms of the way that we're going to run businesses in the future, people like you are leading the way in terms of the way they should be run, which is why I keep talking about the open source aspect to it, which apart from the technology, it was that aspect to it that made me interested to talk to you years ago. And I'm sorry it's taken so long, but everything's meant as it's meant to be. But it opens up, it's like you said, it opens up doors that you can't imagine. There's an amazing guy called Martin Geddes, who's been he's a phenomenal thinker, philosopher, and commentator on the last 3 or 4 years. And he hadn't done an interview in a year, because he doesn't like doing interviews, but he chose me to do his first interview with for a long time, simply because I'd run an online course, where I teach people how to become more sovereign using the internet.
Yes.
And I said, look, if you can afford it, pay this. If you can't afford it, it's free.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I thought was just the right thing to do. And,
Yeah.
there's loads of something. And I said, it's up to you. It's like an honesty box. And because, we're in the financial system. We need money to make these things. We need money to feed our families because we're in that system. But
Right.
where we're going, that whole corporate greed thing, and I think that's what I'm loving about this period is that it's exposing a lot of companies and people are being exposed for who they really are. And I think that's the great thing about this thing is that it's exposed everybody for who they really are, and their connection to the divine, to source, to God, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful thing. So I did look there, John.
Yeah, I think I am quietly hopeful that there's that movement in humanity where the word human does it comes back.
We've lost. Oh, your signal's going now.
Am I back? Yeah, this is China.
Oh, we said at the beginning that it was going to be bad. We got an hour. That's good.
Yeah, it hasn't been bad, has it? No. I mean, every country's got its good and bad, and even New Zealand, the paradise, they, there's a lot of things which aren't right there. A lot of things that there's corruption, even though it's
the Prime Minister.
Pardon? Oh yeah, the only thing with New Zealand, they're very clever with it, hiding the corruption. That's why they keep on winning in the corruption stakes. It's there. I've seen it. I've tasted it firsthand. So yeah, but there's goodness, a lot of really beautiful souls there as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's it. So you're an optimist.
I am because I'm ready for the change. I'm going to be part of the movement. By developing and selling these machines, which can make very positive changes. I tell some people, you buy the device, and we don't want to hear from you. We don't want to sell other bits and pieces. If you want to, it's good, and you can put it into an emergency drawer.
Yeah.
So when you need it, you just open the drawer. Your mind is a little bit garbled because you're panicking. Open the drawer; it's there. And there's also your iodine and your other bits and pieces that sort of keep you above ground.
Well, I've been pushing the fact that we're iodine and magnesium deficient, generally speaking. And when the people that have taken that on board and started taking the iodine and the magnesium have had profound. I had a profound experience when I started realizing that and changing that, because it just changes everything.
Oh, absolutely! As when people watching us now will be thinking, well, I don't need anything because I'm well. But once you start doing something, you suddenly realize, gosh, I'm feeling so much better, so much better. So this is what it feels like to be alive, Yeah. This is what it's like.
Well, I've got, sorry, I was going to say, a friend of mine, I made him stand between the scalar waves yesterday.
Yeah.
And he got a headache.
Yeah. Oh.
And he was like, I can't. And he had to go for a lie down. And I said, he's had 3 of them. And I said, maybe you're more toxic than you realize.
Right. Well, maybe you should start slow as well, because maybe his body is weak and can't handle it. A lot of people don't realize how sick they are. Like I've just passed my teenage years, you could probably tell. And I really have the energy of, I've never slowed down. Like today I went for a bike ride. I promised I'd be only about 5 minutes. I was away for about 2 hours, as one does. And it was a full-on blast. I don't like cars passing me, so I pass cars. It really is a full-blown thing. I don't do things by half. And I come back and I'm pouring a sweat, and what's on my face? A big smile. I'm so happy. But I've got the health to do that. I've got 0 things wrong with me. In my advancing years, I should be having knee problems, shouldn't I, or something? I tell you what, though, Mark, when I see, I've already started down this path, so I might as well make it to the end. Other family members who are not far in age, distant in age from me, above and below, they kind of look a little bit old.
I know.
Old.
I quite like seeing old friends that I've not seen for a long time and going, I mean, I'm whites and everything, but I'm in good shape.
Yeah, you've still got the bubbles. So you've kept your health by being proactive. You've done things that you know that your body would benefit from.
Yeah.
And you can, and now you can see things with clarity.
Yeah, and the more you do it, the more you want to do it. That's the other thing. Because you get
Absolutely.
that feeling of like, it's like, I struggled with drink for quite a few years. And
Yes. Yeah, it's hard, but if you hold it steady, it's easy. Okay. You struggle and
Yeah, it's bringing it to the mouth that was the hard thing. But it did. I struggled with it, and I was drinking every day for quite a long time, and it took me a while to get to really enjoy the feeling of not having a hangover, and it did take a while. And I think that's the same with a lot of people, like not eating bread, for example. I mean, bread to me is one of the biggest killers on the planet, and it's highly addictive, and it creates endorphins in the head, and it's full of phosphates and all sorts of crap. That's the problem with it, really. And coming off that is also difficult because people really. I was having this conversation this morning. People are married to bread. It's because it's such a comfort food, right? But it's actually destroying them from the inside out, and they don't realize.
Absolutely.
And a lot of these things, it takes. Even having salts, I mean, magnesium is one, but other salts, good salts for the body, because every cell in the body is a magnet. A battery, isn't it? And it
That's right.
literally has to be charged, and
Yes.
you can't do that without salts, and you can't do it without magnesium and iodine and all these other things that are just really simple and cheap. And there's other things I can't mention on this channel because they'll get taken down. But I've got a question for you before we wrap up. And this might not be the best question to end a chat on, but I'll tell you why I'm going to bring it up, is because there's in my circles, there's a huge amount of talk around this technology known as med beds. Have you heard of them?
I have, but I haven't seen a reputable source of information on med beds.
Same here.
So I can't really pass any comment. It would be fantastic if there was such a thing, but I don't know.
I mean, my personal feeling is you've got technology like this that is over 100 years old, in essence, right?
Yes.
That has been hidden from us.
Yeah.
As somebody that was in the military, I know that the technology that is really there is hundreds of years ahead of the technology that we have in our hands.
Sure.
So I'm not closed down to any of these ideas. But what I'd say to people watching this is go with what's in front of you. We have these things are available today, right now, and these things are miraculous, and they have potentially miraculous. Don't cling on to some dream. I mean, I tell you why I bring it up, John, is because I'm meeting a lot of people over the last couple of years that are sat there not living their life because they're waiting for this miracle thing to come tomorrow,
Right.
mañana, inshallah. And it's like, you've got things around you right now. You can go for a walk in nature. You can get a Spooky2. You can, get a grander and charge your water or whatever. These things are all here right now, and that's where we've got to live in the present moment.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, was that a question? Oh, the question was the med beds, and I came up as null, so I got off. But the concept is terrific, because that's called empowerment. We've got within ourselves the ability of doing things. Most of it's been people try and beat it out of us through formal education, but fortunately, we've got inquisitive minds by nature, and there's a lot that is out there which isn't made public. There's some things which I know of which I can't talk about because I've had to make promises. But things that before someone gifts me with some promise, I have to ask them the question: is it okay for me to turn this into a product so everyone can benefit? And if they say no, then I say, don't tell me. because I'm not going to be paying royalties and bumping up the price of a product for the sake of business, you know. Yeah, but no, I haven't. The med beds, I haven't been involved with that. I've been the scalar device. That was a device that was I had knowledge from several areas of expertise to develop that. That's a really beautiful device. I've made a wise choice there. We do a lot of products, as you know. We've got our the main website is spooky2-mall.com, and if you stroll over there, you'll see just how many devices we have. We've got plasma, contact mode, and
Hey, I'll tell you what. Let's do another chat when you're in the place and you can do a demonstration.
Oh, okay. I could do that, yes. But I don't want to be the salesperson because I really.
No, I don't mean it from a sales point of view. I just mean just because you're the guy that developed the stuff, and it'd be just wonderful to see you, you know, showing everybody the stuff. But people look.
Oh,
Nobody.
sure.
I don't think anybody watching this thinks you're a salesman, right?
That's a total turn-off. I mean, I watched one video of myself and I thought to myself, I really come across like a salesperson because it's sort of like, but wait, there's more. I was talking this way because I'm excited because I developed the product, not because I want to sell a lot of the product. I'm excited because I think, well, lots of people are going to suddenly become healthier through some, you know.
If you don't sell them, nobody's going to use them.
Yeah, I know. But,
anyway,
you know, quite often, but another thing I've got a bad habit of doing is saying, no, you don't buy the expensive one, buy the cheaper one. That's all you need. True. You know, like, and our generator X, that's a high-end generator. We're forced to go to bump it up to a pro because some components, thanks to the problem that we're all living through, some components weren't available. So we didn't downgrade, we upgraded. And this meant that it could do more things. And so that became like but wait, there's more kind of presentation as well. I really don't like them. So if any of you watch any videos and I'm sort of looks like I'm selling it, I'm not. I'm just excited because they're really cool products, you know. And Spooky Scalar is a product. You know, we developed that 4 years ago, something like that. Time flies, but it's about 4, maybe even more. Gosh, even now, I'm so absolutely proud of what we achieved. That is one beautiful, beautiful kit.
It is. I love it, and I love the way it's designed. I love the way it's built. It's everything about it is. I just feel really privileged to have one, and really, I feel really privileged to have met you and had this great chat. And I can't thank you enough.
Well, the pleasure's all mine. I thought, gosh, being invited to the Mike Attwood show. That's
Mike. Who's it? Who the fuck's Mike?
Pardon?
Who the fuck's Mike Attwood?
Gosh, my friends won't believe me.
Yeah. Well, Penny was brilliant. Penny, thank you.
Yeah, Penny is wonderful.
Yeah,
Penny is my my wing woman.
Yeah, she's brilliant. And well, look, I've taken up enough of your time, and love to you and your lovely family. And thank you so much for the work that you've done. You're doing God's work. That's amazing. That's all I care about. And you guys, if you want to buy one, go and buy one. Get one for the whole family. I mean, club together. That's what I do. I mean, if you've got a family of 20 people between 4 houses, one between you is nothing.
That's right. It's not like you're all going to get sick at the same time, or hopefully not at the same time. So you just send it off to people.
No. You got hit by the Chinese Wi-Fi at the best bit there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, just get one device amongst a group of you, and just whoever needs it, send it out. You know, that's the community spirit.
Well, I've got this one here, and I'm offering it to friends. Come around, just use it. You know, I don't need to make money out of it.
Yep. Pass the love forwards, as I always say.
Absolutely. Brilliant. It's been a pleasure to speak to you, John. Thank you very much. And we let's speak again in the next couple of months and have a look at all your kit. Yeah, he's gone again.
Privileged to have. It's a privilege to have spent time with you today, Mark. I've really enjoyed our talk. It's been a real blessing. And
Well,
people
thanks,
aren't going to
mate.
believe me. Well, I've been on the Mark Attwood show. Well, I've got evidence now. Just watch the video. I was on his show.
No, they're not going to believe that you got his name right in the end. That's what they're not going to believe. Thanks,
Good
Dave.
on you, Mark. Thank
See
you
you
very
later.
much. Bye-bye.
See you, John.